Alright, so this is just a couple highlights from my Timberwolves game, and then I'm going to have full game highlights of Bulls game that I had right after this one. And I'm kind of doubling them up on them just because it's like a long video. I know it's like 18 minutes, but I want to talk about NBA 2K13 and some suggestions I have, some wish list stuff, and maybe like the future of 2K basketball games. One of the things that you can do right now, if you have any suggestions, if you have a wish list, is to go to the 2K forums. Right now they have a thread going on. So it's like 45 pages deep the last time I checked it, of suggestions, complaints, things that they need to fix, wish lists, everything. And from it's from my player to online to association. There's just a whole bunch of people just giving suggestions out to 2K to fix this game or to make it better. So it's one of the things that you can do to get your voice out there, to express to 2K of what you want to see in this game, what you want to see fixed in this game. And right now that's the only thing that we have actually, because if you try to make your suggestions on Xbox or PlayStation or any type of forums you go to other than 2K, I highly doubt that you actually check those forums. Do they check YouTube videos to see what people are talking about? Who knows? But that's one of the ways that you can really get out there and express your displeasure, or give any positive about the game. If you have positive about this game, that you can say, hey, this is great about this game, work on this, make it better, or something like that. So right now is the time, because once 2 months out from the launch, it's pretty hard for them to implement anything that you might have want to see fixed, or any type of complaints or anything like that. But one of the things that really irked me, or really made me angry, from going to the 2K forums a few weeks ago, was seeing how pissed off everybody was. Now, it's one thing that's great is that the community is, they're not being shy of how bad this game is. And me being only a my player guy, I only play my player, and seeing everything else that's wrong with this game, it really kind of shocked me, from the online to the association to create a legend to everything's just broken in this game, and people are still complaining about this game and everything like that. And it's crazy. You can go back 2 months into the threads and look that people are complaining about the same exact things 2 months ago, and that's one of the things that they really need to work on as far as 2K goes, is the support for this game. I know playing this game from launch, I know I took a few months off of not playing this game at all or posting videos or anything like that, but from launch until now, I can only remember about 2 patches, I think, from this game completely. I remember one a few weeks or 2 weeks after the game was launched, and then when I got back on this game, I had to download a patch from Microsoft. And that's the only time that we really know that they actually fix something, or that they try to fix something in this game. So the support in this game needs to be better, because if people are still complaining about the same things 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, obviously they're not really supporting this game, and they're not trying to make it better, because they can come out and say, oh, we did a hot fix on this, we did a hot fix on that, but how do we actually know? Just because it says saving content on our 2K game that they're trying to make a hot fix? I still don't believe it, honestly. Playing through Mortal Kombat, I say they made a ton of hot fixes throughout the game, and they really didn't, to be honest with you. So it's the same with this game, where if they try to say, well, we did hot fixes on this, we did hot fixes on that, I really don't believe you. I'm sorry. If I can't download it through Microsoft, I don't believe that you really even fix anything. And honestly, from day one till now, some of the same issues are still happening in this game. So the support in this game needs to get better. 2K needs to get on their horse and really pay attention to what the community is talking about. And they really need to make an effort to really support this game, because that's one of the reasons why, and I'm going to talk about the gameplay here in a little bit, but that's one of the reasons why fans flock to 2K, because the gameplay and because some of the support for the game was high end. They really made an effort, but in this game it's just they forgot about it. I just don't understand of how they could just make a game this bad out of all the other games that they did that were pretty much almost so great. Every game had their issues, every game had their problems, but it wasn't nothing like this game. And one of the things they really need to focus on is the gameplay. I mean, they need to forget about trying to do any type of mode like they did with the greatest mode. I mean, I love what they did with the Jordan thing, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But because adding this extra mode of the greatest mode, the gameplay really suffered. And I'm going to talk about my player solely just because of the fact that I don't really play anything else. But hearing all the complaints from the online people, I mean, oof. I don't know if I really want to play that. I don't even know if I really want to even try to attempt to play online just because of all the things that are wrong with online, it seems like. But the gameplay, as far as my player goes, they really... the levels need to matter. The levels, you need to see the difference between the levels. I mean, in my opinion, in 2K12, Pro, All-Star, and Superstar are the same as far as gameplay goes. There really is no difference between them, in my opinion. You go into Hall of Fame, of course there's a difference, and it's just a whole nother beast, and I just don't even want to deal with, and not too many other people want to deal with. I mean, you could even see it on YouTube. Some of the even good players, even some of the really good players, refuse to almost even play on Hall of Fame just because of the fact that there's just so much bullshit going on in this game. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them at all for not wanting to try to give a Hall of Fame gameplay or anything like that. I really don't blame them at all. And me, I like to play on All-Star, I like to play on Superstar, and I just couldn't play on Superstar this year. I just really hated it. Couldn't play on it. I could barely play on All-Star, which I'm playing on now. And there really is no difference, honestly, of going through each difficulty. And that's the point of having difficulties and having different levels of gameplay, is to having each level matter. To have each level to where there is a difference between, if pro should be almost like kindergarten, going into All-Star should be high school, and Superstar should be college, and then if you play on Hall of Fame, that's actually pro. But they're in this game, it's all the same. There is no level of difference in the game. So they really need to fix that. They really need to make an effort to fix that first and foremost. One of the other things is attributes. Attributes need to matter. I mean, in this game, some of your attributes don't seem to matter until you pump up your abilities, which I have a problem with that. I have a huge problem with that, because if you're a 95 three-point shooter, which I am in this game, you should be able to make at least 6 or 7 of your wide open three-pointers. But in this game, you miss 6 or 7. So obviously the attributes really don't matter in this game. And they really need to get back to the point to where they do matter, because why are we wasting our time playing this mode? Why are we wasting our time playing each game if nothing matters that we pump up? You can even pump up your abilities, and sometimes they really don't matter in this game, depending on what level you play at. So they really need to get back to where making the attributes matter. And I mean, if you want to make a game harder, you don't make the gameplay harder. You don't make it to where it's unplayable. If you play on All-Star, if you play on Superstar, if you want to make a game harder, you pump up the attributes, especially in a game like, or a mode like my player, to where the attributes should matter, and you're pumping up your attributes. I know in this game they pretty much double up on every single attribute as far as skill points go, and that's fine. But again, they don't matter if you pump them up anyway. So, if you want to make it harder, just make those harder to achieve. Make it harder to achieve a maxed out three-pointer. Make it harder to achieve a mid-range max out, or a speed max out, or any max out for any of the attributes that they have. That's how you make a game harder. That's how you make a my player mode or a create a player mode harder, is by pumping up those attributes to make it harder for the gamer to pump up those attributes or to max out those attributes. So that's one way you can make a game harder, not to make the gameplay unplayable to the point to where the computer is just cheesing you game after game. Getting every offensive rebound, blocking every shot, and it's just unbearable. Having a 70 overall player play like they're a 90 overall player, it just doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen, especially in my player. So if you want to make a game harder, pump up those attributes, make them harder to achieve. That's one thing you can do. Abilities, I don't agree with abilities. I really don't. I mean, to pump up your abilities, I'm fine with. You need about like 40,000 skill points, just about, to make an ability great, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with the amount of skill points you need to pump up your ability to great, but I don't agree with the abilities all in general. The abilities should be per position. Because how many point guards in the NBA do you actually see post up? Hardly any. And if you see them post up, they're maybe posting up maybe once or twice a game. I know in the current team I'm on right now, which is Miami Heat, they're asking me to post up maybe 4 or 5 times a game and the plays that we're running, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion, because you don't see point guards posting up that much. So why do we have the ability to post up? We shouldn't, honestly. They should take even that attribute out of it completely. And they should make attributes and abilities per position, to be honest with you. I mean, there's certain point guards through the history of the NBA that have posted up and stuff like that and have used their whatever their strength or their body to where if they're a bigger point guard. Take Chauncey Billups, for example. He posted up a few times a game, it seemed like sometimes, especially if he went up against a smaller point guard. Something like a Jameer Nelson, who was a smaller point guard who he just destroyed on a nightly basis every time they played the Orlando Magic. So honestly, if they're going to do abilities again, they should do per position. If you're a center, you shouldn't have the ability, like the dribble abilities at all. You shouldn't have them. Because how many centers do you see running down the court doing crossovers and hesitations and dribbling through the legs and dribbling like they're freaking, like Allen Iverson or something? You just don't see it. So centers shouldn't have dribble abilities whatsoever in this game. And just like with point guards, they shouldn't have post-up moves at all. Now, like, of course, with the abilities too, you have the abilities for layup and dunk. In my opinion, point guards, unless they're 6'3" or taller, shouldn't have dunk abilities. I mean, how many point guards do you see that are 6 foot dunking the ball on a nightly basis? You don't. But we have the ability to, right? We shouldn't have the ability to. They want to make this game more realistic, like they were doing in 2K10, 2K11, going into this game. There's those abilities shouldn't be. We shouldn't have the abilities to do that. So the abilities should be per position. The only ones that would have maybe every single ability is maybe if you're a shooting guard or a small forward. They should have every single ability possible. So they should definitely do it per position. Dribble packages. They give us a package for everything else. So you can buy shots, you can buy dunk packages, runners, layup packages. They don't give us dribble packages. I think they should limit especially if you're a point guard or even a shooting guard, they should limit the amount of dribble moves that we could actually do and give us dribble packages that we could buy from, maybe your favorite point guard in the league, maybe old point guards. Who wouldn't want Tim Hardaway's or Allen Iverson's crossover? I mean, that would be killer. That would be awesome to have in this game that you can actually buy. One thing I have a real problem with as far as my player goes are people who, they play 10 games with the team that they got drafted by and they immediately go and trade themselves to the Miami Heat or the Thunder or the Chicago Bulls or, any of the top 5 or 6 teams in the NBA. Now, in this game, you needed to. Obviously, I did it myself because I had to, because that's the only time you can actually win fucking games on this game. But in the other games, you could get drafted by a lower tier team and make them better and make them into a playoff contender or even make them almost into a championship contender because you were on the team. It's not like that in this game. Like I said, they need to get back to that point to where, if you get drafted by a low tier team, you should stay with that team for a solid year. You can't get traded to another team for a year. So you have to stay with whoever drafts you. If you get drafted by, say, the Toronto Raptors, you should have to stay with that team for a full year until you can request a trade, period. So I hope they kind of implement something like that. I think that would be great. I think that would really showcase a lot more skill in this game for other players. I think it would be a lot better off I think the gameplays would be a lot better, especially for YouTube channels to have to play with maybe lower tier teams and maybe struggle a little bit. So I think they should have no trade clauses for the first year whatsoever on your My Player, and then after that, and then you can go like to Miami or the Chicago Bulls or whoever you want to go with after your first year. So I hope they kind of do something like that. One thing they did last year, of course, with they did the Michael Jordan series for NBA 2K11. I was hoping for 12 that they were going to build upon that and give us like individuals or give us 2 people at the one time instead of going through the greatest mode, because obviously the greatest mode was kind of like a disaster, at least for this game. I mean, it's a great mode. You get to play with some of the past greats, but they pretty much shot their wad. I mean, after this, they really have nowhere else to go after they did this greatest mode. I thought they were going to do a Magic Bird type thing just because the rivalry between the Lakers and Celtics is so heated and so intense, especially that rivalry through the 80s. Magic and Bird rivalry was amazing to watch. If you ever watched the HBO special documentary on them, it's on right now on HBO On Demand. I highly suggest you will watch it. It's amazing. I hope they do something like that in the future. The only thing they can do now, to be honest with you, is a Dream Team edition, because like I said, they shot their wad with the greatest ever. I mean, they could have went decade to decade and then gave us a full greatest mode instead of just put them all in one basket like they did. So they could have did decade to decade, but like I said, the only thing they could do right now is a Dream Team edition to give us all the Dream Teams from 92 on. I think that'd be kind of cool, from going 92 on and seeing what we could do with them as players. I think that would be kind of cool if they would do that, but I really hope they get back to the kind of like the Michael Jordan thing, where they either take one player or they take a couple players that had rivalries. They could even go back in the day of Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell. I mean, I think that would be a pretty cool game that they could do as well. But gameplay is finally going to come to an end here. Let me know what you guys have. Any suggestions? Like I said, hit those 2K forums now, because there's not too much time left that you can get your suggestions out there, and that they would actually take your suggestions seriously, because once it gets to that 2-month mark before the launch of the new game, it's pretty much irrelevant to give any type of suggestions, because as developers, they only have a certain amount of time to make a game. But like I said, get to those 2K forums, get out your suggestions, let me know what you guys think about some of my suggestions, and that'll be it. Later.